everybody, and welcome back to another round of Modern Lay here in the booth with Ginkgo and Marco as usual.
Hello, everyone.
Today we bring you Dimir Mill on your left versus Grixis Death Shadow on your right. Should be an exciting matchup.
Dimir Mill, first time on the channel.
Exactly, yeah.
So Dimir Mill is in a weird position. I think lately there has been a lot of big mana decks, and I think that Dimir Mill struggles a bit against those decks.
Big mana decks, not, but decks that have a high mana value.
Yeah, that's
yes.
what I meant.
There is a extreme polarity by having solitudes and furies and subtleties and griefs in your deck, because technically they cost 0 mana, but mana value of them is still 5/4 and mostly 5 and 4.
Yeah, and of course the big hitter. The big hitter in Dimir Mill is Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
Tasha's Hideous Slaughter.
Oh.
Yeah. First turn of the game, a crab has been played from one side and Thoughtseize from the other side. But in response, Archive Trap. Mill 13 because you shuffled your library. Ugh. Yeah, and we see the content of the Grixis Shadows deck. Thoughtseize, Street Raids, finally unlocked with Banning of Luris and some other cards. Notably, Street Raids, also great against Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
Yeah, indeed. Its mana value is 5, so it's very good against Tasha's Hideous Laughter. But Grixis Death Shadow is definitely a low curve deck that struggles against Dimir Mill.
Yeah, Sheldok Isle being played, another card being put there, and we see which one it is. It is again the Archive Trap. The Thoughtseize just took Tasha's Hideous Laughter, but with that, I do think that the Grixis Death Shadow player is already behind. As crazy as this might seem, they have been developing their game plan quite well, actually. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, into turn 2 they are at 12 life, playing Inquisition of Kozilek into probably a Death Shadow or something else.
It's a decent start. Yeah.
But we see another Tasha's Hideous Laughter that they have to take because they're dead to it, or a kill spell / remove counter spell, which is a hard counter or a hard kill in this deck, and just draw 3. This is just crazy. And they're probably at 20 or more cards already, or close to it at this point, so that they can just fire the visions for just one.
Yeah, just
and
one.
Draw 3. That's, fair. Extremely fair.
And we see Extirpate in Dimir Mill's player hand.
Several lands, but that's fine. Every land is 3 cards less because of the crab. 1 Shadow, 1 Scalding Tarn, 1 Expressive Iteration going to the bin. And what is this going to be? I have probably... No? Oh yeah, just remove the Death Shadow before it was too late. Extirpate all of the Death Shadows from the deck. There goes your deck. Goodbye. This is the hand. This is a Turak that can do some damage. There is Kroxa, I do believe, another Expressive Iteration, but Shadows are just gone forever. There is another probably in the graveyard somewhere. All 4 of them, just goodbye. And this is the strength of the Dimir Mill plan. Just mill some cards, but more importantly, get those pesky cards out of your deck. You have no win conditions. I can leisurely just take my time milling you out.
Exactly. And we know there is Sheldok Isle on the board that is hiding away, probably a win con for the
we have seen. It's another Archive Trap.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So
Mishra's Bubble, trying to see if there is something useful on the top of it, trying to see maybe if there is a counter spell or something to play into it to hold it in your hand, but seeing that there is not Croxa will be get played sacrificed as a state-based action because it's a triggered ability actually, and at the opponent's upkeep, the Grixis Shadow player draws a card from the bubble. Now,
Counting the cards, something that you will often do playing against a mill player,
yeah,
counting your deck. How many cards do you have left?
how many cards still there? Are you 20 or less? Can I fire my Shadow card? Are you mana value more or less than 20?
And then is this Fracture Sanity?
Yes, this is Fracture Sanity
Hard
Mill
cast.
14.
Mhm.
And I'm actually so. Um, it makes me a little bit angry that this is Mill 14 and not Mill 13. I do not know why, but it is just off flavor.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because all of the other ones are Mill 13, and this one is just stapled another one on that for some reason. Yeah, and
So what is the game plan for Grixis, that shadow player?
at this point, probably pray.
At this point, I mean, he always has enough cards to escape his Crocs, I guess.
I guess, yeah, that is a fine plan, I guess, but not one that you should rely upon. There are some graveyard synergies we have seen Snapcaster Mage and Croxa, but not something that should be relied upon. Dash Ragavan, blocked by the monkey. Yeah, sure. The crab dies. It has milled like 15, 20 cards,
Yeah.
and should not be a surprise. They take the hit. They do not take the hit. They take the trade, especially because they're at 15. Another
And then we
one,
see-
Archive Trap. Just goodbye. There is your hand, graveyard, and library all gone. Let's go to game two.
Definitely, Grixis Death Shadow, a deck that struggles against Dimir Mill. One of those decks, one other that I can think of is Hammer. Hammer also very, very, very low curve. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, very
Just
deadly.
abolishes the deck.
Deadly. But of course, there is something that Hammer has going for it against in this matchup, and it doesn't play a lot of fetches. While Grixis Death Shadow really likes to fetch and the hurtful fetch, the 3 life fetch.
Yeah, the life total really does not matter because
True,
they
true.
want to get below 13 for their Death Shadows, but it opens up those archive traps like an open book, and we have seen it being done actually turn 1 this game.
So what can Grixis player do with sideboarding here?
One of actually better sideboard plans is just take your sideboard, put it in your main deck, dump it in, and call it a day. But I'm not so for this kind of strategy because it can dilute your primary game plan. But it can also give you some more win conditions, as we have seen. There's some extirpate, there's definitely surgical extractions in the main board of the Dimir Mill plan. They will mill and extract your win conditions. So it's better to have more than less. But there is also, we have seen each time the Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek looked at the opponent's hand, they needed to take the Tasha's Hideous.
Yes.
And the unfortunate thing was that the Dimir Mill player draw 3 out of 4 of those. For that reason, I do think Mishra's Bubbles should go out immediately. Because they're 0 mana cards, they just get milled over, and you'll fill your graveyard. So they serve 2 purposes in this deck. First of all, to trigger the Dragon Rage's Channel. Second of all, to fuel your graveyard for various strategies, such as the Delirium for Dragon Rage's Channel, but also for Croxa and other stuff. You will not have a problem with this here.
Yeah.
You will have a stocked graveyard here, so they can just move out. The best card in this matchup is definitely the Street Wraith. And other cards that can be brought in are probably Kolaghan's Command, maybe even some Terminator and something like it, because you a need to get rid of those crabs. They are usually overlooked because they do not attack; they just sit there as enchantments more than creatures.
Mm-hmm.
But they are crucial to the Dimir Mill's plan because, as we have seen, one crab milled over I don't know, no what was that, like 4 or 5 lands
Mm-hmm.
plus fetches, so 12 cards, let's say. 12 cards is a whole card worth of milling, and the good one, the fractured sanity or something, for just 1 mana, just because it's set there on
Yeah,
the desk.
it's stuck to the battlefield.
Yeah,
That's true. I like this plan with moving out Mishra's Bubble. Of course, I'm not Grixis player, so I don't think about these things. But in fact, moving out Mishra's bubbles is quite good actually.
yeah, should be. But and also what you can think to bring in is additional cards, so
Mm-hmm.
you can definitely have more than 60 cards
Yeah,
in your
yeah, yeah,
deck,
yeah.
and you can definitely have more than less than 15 cards in your in your sideboard once you sideboard.
Of course,
So
of
you
course.
can just bring in several other cards which you deem are impactful enough and not diluting your game plan.
I often play with 65 cards
Yeah.
in this matchup. That is very, very true. Okay, so before the next round starts, I invite you all to like, share, and subscribe. Of course, if you like our content, if you want to see more, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and of course, comment down below about everything that you want to tell us.
Tell us, ask us, or if you think you have seen some mistake that we have overlooked, or something else that we should take into account. Now, we have said how the Grixis, the Shadow player, sideboards. How does the mere Mill player sideboard?
That's a good question.
Do they sideboard at all? I mean, the Grixis the Shadow is pretty much a deck that has been solved, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
There are some variations with, for example, Mercted Regions or something like it, a little bigger maybe, but usually it is a deck that is aggressive with their life totals and aggressive with the opponent's life total, and they will get the job done with 6/6 for 1 mana or something like it. And
Mm-hmm.
the Dimir Mill player just needs to avoid this, right? And they have all the tools. They have the extirpates, they have the surgical extractions. They can mill the opponent down, as we say here, for 0 mana, 13, mill 13.
Mm-hmm. Turn zero for
Turn 0.
Bill player. And again, a great start with Street Freight in the graveyard.
Yeah, into Totsis.
Into
They're down to
Totsis,
13
yeah.
already. And there's some fraying sanities, some crabs, and some lands, I do think. Uh, if they have a removal spell, maybe they will.
That's drowned in the Loch.
Drown in the Loch. Yeah, this is a hard counter and hard removal for the deck, so definitely the most versatile card in the whole deck.
Okay, this is not terrible hand for a Grixis player.
Yeah, definitely not terrible, and definitely a little bit slower from the Dimir Mill player, but Crab being played there, thankfully no Mill. First, we see a lot of removal spells from the Grixis Shadow player's hand, and also they're down to 12 already, which is a great start. So you want your life total to be around 12 or 10 on the first turn or second turn of the game, definitely. One Death Shadow, one Lightning Bolt, 2 the Crab. I wonder why. Oh, this is the crab that has 3 toughness.
Three toughness. There are 2 types of crabs.
Yeah.
One with 3, one with 2 toughness.
Yeah, I also do not know why this one should have 3 toughness. A Lightning Bolt still kills it, but I do think there's undelirious graveyard for the other burn spell that goes to the face. And this is actually a good start. 3 damage from the Death Shadow, 2 damage from the monkey, getting a card, getting a clue.
Card is Misty
Misty
Rainforest.
Rainforest. Unfortunately, nothing to write home about, but definitely clue and everything else will be
Hmm.
helpful for the future.
Now it comes to turn 3, a very scary turn for playing against Mill.
Yeah, they have Tasha's Hideous Laughter, but also Frank Sanity just cycled, which
Hmm.
is another 4 cards and card drawn for the Dimir Mill player, and they can proceed to their turn. They have already a full grip. I do think that only the other Frank Sanity is known from the previous Thoughtseize.
Hmm.
Another fetch, another island. What do you think about these islands and swamps from the Innistrad Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt? They do seem a little too similar for my
I
taste.
am not the biggest fan of these land cycle lands.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like them.
Oh, Tasha Serious
There
Laughter
we
from the
go.
top.
There we go.
15, let's
Now the
see,
pain.
005, 05. Oh, say 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1.
And that's it.
That's it. That's still a decent chunk of cards that goes to the exile. Hopefully, or not hopefully, because they cannot be surgically extracted or extirpated, but still, this is
But these two street raids really saved.
this Tasha Serious Laughter
Mhm.
because it could have been 10 more cards or
Yeah,
5 more
exactly.
cards.
Exactly.
And we see here the Grixis Shadow player firmly in the lead up until the third turn of the game, and now considering their
What to
decisions
do?
what to
Yeah.
do. They have 1 mana in the form of treasure from the Ragavan from before.
Hmm.
What to do now? There is also a Croxa in the graveyard, though we should not forget this. And this is actually a hard turn. They are at 11, the Dimir Mill player.
Hmm.
So the other player has, the Grixis Shadow player has 1 or 2 turns of reprieve. I do not believe they can be milled as fast. So they need to think how to put the opponent down to 0, probably in this and the second attack step.
I think that the best that a Grixis player can do is search for some painful cards
Yeah,
or fetches
yeah,
to grow that shadow.
yeah, that would be amazing because there is no direct damage from the Demir Mill plan, but there are none, I do believe, in their hand. And I
And
believe
that
this
is
is
Croxa
Croxa.
escaped. Hmm.
Escape Croxa, a land being milled, so this is good for 3 damage. And this is escape for the Croxa in a creature
Hmm.
and some other stuff, and attack from the Death Shadow for 3. So
Not a bad situation, but
definitely.
let's see.
I spotted a card which might change everything, and that is Crypt
Um,
Incursion. Yeah. So exile all of the creature cards in your graveyard. You gain 3 times
Game
that life.
life.
Yeah.
There we have a
Three,
great
six,
sideboard card.
nine, 12 life gained from the Dimir Mill side, and we have questioned its if they can just sideboard or what to sideboard, and this is definitely one of the great cards to sideboard
Hmm.
in against
Hmm.
this matchup.
Yeah, crypt incursion, not something that you see often, but it can be very, very, very good.
Yeah, definitely in this deck. So this is our grand attack. Uh, this is also in the opponent's hand. So attack for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're still at 6, which is more than 0. And we will see what the top deck is. Oh, Dragavan exiled another land. This might hurt them because if they get something beneath Dragavan here,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
done. Let's see what the top deck is. And
Is it? Oh
oh no!
no!
The worst
No!
nightmare.
Ragavan the
One.
betrayer.
Yeah, the betrayer. Oh god, there's no way they have enough cards. No. Lands,
No.
more spells.
No.
Ah, this is a game and match. 2-0 Grixis Shadow against Dimir Mill. Yeah, just
some frustration from the Grixis player.
Yeah, definitely some frustration. I would be frustrated too because this is definitely a winning situation that just got out of hand, and a little bit of luck, a little bit of misfortune. Um, their first one being the Crypt Incursion gaining so much life. There was a Croxa that could have escaped several other creatures if the players knew what to be aware of. And the second one, of course, being the betrayal of Ragavan, which exiled the land, and beneath that was Tasha's hideous laughter that definitely sealed up the game. That is all for us. Thank you all for watching, and like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.